What's up, guys? Welcome back to Picks and Roll DFS. Thursday night football is here. Seahawks versus Cardinals. And we've got three props lined up that I think perfectly fit together. Before we jump in, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. Quick reminder, if you're new to Betr, use code DIME at the link below. New users get $10 free just for signing up, plus a 50% deposit match up to $200. And if you're new to Underdog, use code LOB at my link below, and you'll get a free month in my winnable VIP just for signing up and sending me a screenshot. Let's get into it. First, we'll start with our bankroll tip for today. When you're building slips, especially for football, try to find some correlation between your plays. Instead of throwing random props together, think about how the game script connects them. Take tonight's slate, for example. If we like Sam Darnold to throw for more yards, that often means rushing yards for Kenneth Walker will be fewer because Seattle is leaning on the pass. That would be positive correlation. Same thing with Trey Benson on Arizona. If Seattle gets ahead and forces Arizona into passing situations, then his rushing value likely dips. By stacking props that align with a specific game script, you reduce randomness and give yourself a stronger chance to hit multiple legs at once. So let's get into our plays today, and you'll see some correlation as we go through them. First play, we are going to go with Sam Darnold going higher than 221.5 passing yards. We can see this season, when we look at this line, he has cleared this line 1 out of 3 games. But here's the caveat within those games. He has played, at the time, first game of the season, first of all, new team for Sam Darnold. They were also the 5th ranked defense in terms of passing yards allowed. We can also see the Saints, who are currently ranked 17, and it was an onslaught. They killed them. Don't need to pass a lot if you're up a lot, right? So there's that. Now we see this game, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Seattle, who are ranked 26 in passing yards allowed, and he went way over the 221.5 passing yard line. But with these 3 games combined, he hasn't averaged directly at 221, which is why they put that line there at the start. And you can see median at the current moment is at 218. Now, one thing to look at, playing these lines at Betr for today, you can see that this 221 isn't even available on any other sites. If you're looking at Underdog, I believe that they have the line starting at 224. So we see that we have some advantage here playing this line at 221. That would be considered an edge for us at this moment. Then, if we look to the right, we also see that Arizona's passing defense is ranked 30th. They allow 264 passing yards to quarterbacks. And we're looking for 221. Plus, we just talked about that edge with this line not even being available anywhere else at the moment. All of these things, as well as seeing that he has exceeded 224 passing yards in 13 of his last 16 games, all align for us. In addition to looking at Arizona's last 3 games, where they allowed Mac Jones, Bryce Young, and Spencer Rattler to all go over their lines, which is why I feel confident in our first play of Sam Darnold going higher than 221.5 passing yards. Best place to play this line would be at Betr. Remember, if you don't have Betr, download it now for that free $10 plus up to $200 in deposit match bonus funds. If you like this play, hit the like button. Drop your favorite Thursday night football play in the comments below. And as you can see, all these nuanced details for matchups, hit rates, opposing defensive rankings, are powered by Outlier, which is the best tool you can use for finding plus EV edges. Use my link, outlier.bet/lob, to sign up and start building smarter slips today. Let's go to pick 2. We are going to go with Kenneth Walker going lower than 53.5 rushing yards. So keep in mind what we just talked about in our bankroll tip for today with positive correlation. Sam Darnold higher on passing yards would typically mean Kenneth Walker then lower on rushing yards. But there are more reasons why this play correlates and makes sense for our plays today. Now, we can see that this is a minus 110 favorite at DraftKings, a minus 117 on Caesars, minus 119 on PrizePicks, and then all the way to a minus 135 on Sleeper. If we look at Arizona's rush defense, overall they ranked 4th with 76.3 rushing yards allowed. Additionally, we look at how they defend just running backs. It's a bit lower at that 70. So most of the yards are coming from the running backs, but they're still only allowing 70 rushing yards in the first 3 games of the season. Keep in mind, Zach Charbonnet will greatly impact Kenneth Walker's performance tonight. He is listed as a game-time decision. He's questionable. If he plays, that means that there's going to be less rushing attempts for Kenneth Walker, which also increases the likelihood of him cashing this under, especially with Arizona's rush defense being solid at this time. He's also gone below this line in 6 of his last 10 games, averaging 50.2 in a median of 4. We see here, out of the first 3 games of the season, he had 20 rushing yards against 49ers. He had 38 in the blowout win against the Saints, and then had a breakout game against the Steelers. So 2 out of the 3 games to start the season, he's gone below this line. And then we see here, because most of the popular lines are starting at 55, and we're getting 53. They say that Kenneth Walker has failed to exceed 55.5 rushing yards in 6 of his last 7 games, averaging below both of those lines we just mentioned, 48.3 rushing yards in those games. You can also see that there's been some significant line movement. It started at 53, and it is currently at 52 at some places. So watch that line. Make sure you're making a solid and good choice in terms of where this line ends. You want to try to beat that closing line value, so the earlier you make the plays, the better. Then we can also see how Arizona has done against some of the running backs earlier this season, and we can see that they held Christian McCaffrey under his rushing yards, which tells us a lot. Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, and Alvin Kamara. They had some really low lines for Brian Robinson and Kendre Miller at 12.5 and 20.5, which they did go over. But either way, all of these lines, for the most part, were the unders, and they cashed, which is why I believe that Kenneth Walker will go under 53.5 yards tonight on Thursday Night Football. Now, don't forget to subscribe, and if you sign up with Betr using code DIVE or Underdog using code LOB, send me that screenshot. You'll get hooked up with a free month in my winnable VIP. We are stacking wins every night. Now, real quick, again, make sure you're subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any of these daily picks. Then take advantage of the promos, especially during football season. Not only are you getting these sign-up bonuses, but during the day, especially right before tip-off or before football games are starting, they're unleashing some great promos. Now, again, the sign-up bonus for Betr right now, you get a free $10 and a 50% match. Underdog, if you use code LOB, as you see here, you get $50 in bonus funds if you simply play $5. Plus, they're going to give you a gimme pick. They're giving 50% profit boost on MLB plays almost every day. They're going to give multiple NFL profit boosts before the game, during the game. It is the easiest way to stack your roll. Now, especially with this correlation, and when we use this next play, we talked about Sam Darnold higher on passing yards, Kenneth Walker lower. If you were to stack the previous two plays with Kyler Murray's free pick and our next play, you would have positive correlation for both teams for Thursday Night Football. And our last play is going to be Trey Benson going under 58.5 rushing yards. Now we can see that this is a favorite on Caesar at minus 128. We can see BetMGM at minus 115, DraftKings at minus 114. We can see this line opened at 64.5 and has dropped all the way down to 58.5. So keep your eye on the line movement as we go forward. You don't want it to drop too much lower before you kind of fade this play. Now we can see that Seattle is ranked 7th in rushing yards allowed. We know that James Conner is out for the season, so that means that Trey Benson is going to get a significant increase in his workload for the rest of the year. We can see that he has, yes, James Conner has been on the team and playing the first 3 games of the season, but we can see that he has cashed this line 2 out of 3 games with an outlier in the Saints game. Now, the Saints were ranked 14th. We can see Carolina was ranked 25th and San Francisco ranked 15th. He is going against a solid run defense, especially when it comes to overall, but a neutral defense when it comes to specifically running backs where they allow 80 yards per game. We can see here from the insights that he has failed to exceed 58.5 rushing yards in 13 of his last 15 games. And we can see that they have denied some solid running backs like Alvin Kamara and Kenneth Gainwell from hitting their lines, while a few others like Christian McCaffrey, Jaylen Warren, all hit their overs. Keep in mind, I think that the Cardinals will be down in this game, and if that means that Kyler Murray is passing a lot, that means that Trey Benson is going to get less receiving yard or less rushing yards. I also think that they're going to give DeMarcado a lot of rushing attempts and opportunities to split the load between him and Trey Benson, which is also an opportunity for this. Also increases the likelihood of this play cashing. So let's recap today's plays. We have Sam Darnold going higher than 221.5 passing yards, Kenneth Walker going lower than 53.5 rushing yards, and Trey Benson going under 58.5 rushing yards. That's our correlated build for Seahawks versus Cardinals. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your favorite play in the comments. And as always, let's build that roll.